Today, we'll discuss what is sentence and the elements of sentence structure. What are they, how do we build them, and what are key parts of make the sentence complete and meaningful. By the end of this video, you'll understand how to break down any sentence into its part and build your own clear, strong sentences in speaking and writing. First, let's define what is sentence. A sentence is a group of words that expresses complete thought, not just any group of words. The sentence must make sense on its own and must follow some key rules. Here what every sentence must have. First, it begins with a capital letter. It ends with a punctuation mark, like a period, a question mark, or an exclamation point. And most importantly, it must contain a finite verb, that is a verb that shows tense like a past or present. Without these three features, we don't have a sentence. Now, why do we use sentences? Sentences help us communicate ideas and they serve four main purposes. To make a statement, of course. Like for example, I love music, an example of a statement. Or to ask questions. Do you like music? An example of question. Or to express our emotions. What a beautiful song. It is an example of expressing an emotion by complementing the music or the song. To give a command like turn off the radio, close the door. That is an example of command. So every time we speak or write, we are using sentences to achieve one of these goals. So, like for example, she likes sweets. This is an example of a simple sentence. It has a subject, which is the she, a verb, which is the like, and an object, which is the sweet. It expresses a complete thought. Now, what will happen if we expand this sentence? If we expand this sentence, it will become she likes Bengali sweets, which are made of milk. This sentence includes extra details or subordinate clause, but it still follows all the rules. So it's a more complex sentence, but is still clear and complete. So let's move on to the elements of sentence structure. So what are they? So now let's move on to elements of sentence structure. These are like the parts of machine. They each have role when it comes to sentence, and they work together to make the sentence fully functionable and function properly. First with the subject. So what is subject? The subject is the heart of the sentence. It is what or who the sentence is about. Usually the subject comes at the beginning unless it is a question. It can be a noun like the cat, a pronoun, she or they, or even a noun phrase, my little brother. The subject is the door of the action, or sometimes just the topic. Like for example, the cat sleeps in the mat. So the cat in the sentence is the subject, which is doing the action. My brother plays football. My brother is the subject in this sentence. Next with the dogs bark at strangers. Dogs is the subject in this sentence. And next with the she sings well. She is the subject, which is a pronoun. Reading books is fun. Reading books is the subject, a noun praised. So let's move on to the second element of sentence structure, which is the verb. The verb is the action or state in the sentence. There are two main types of verbs, which is the action verbs and the state verbs. So what is action verbs? Action verbs sometimes is happening or an action, of course, like running, sing, or play. And what is state verbs? State verbs describe a condition or situation like is, are, seem. Without a verb, you do not have a sentence. So we have an examples for verb. First, we have the cat sleep on the mat. Sleep is the verb, which is the action. She is tired. Is show a state but not an action. Next, we have they play in the garden. Play is the verb. Next, we have the baby cried loudly. Cry is the verb in this sentence. And the last one, we have the he became a teacher. Became shows a change of state. So now let's move on to the third element of the sentence structure, which is the object. So what is object? Object receives the action of the verb, so the subject does something, and the object is the one that action is done to. To find the object, as what or whom after the verb. Like for example, he kicked the ball. So the ball is the object, and he kicked is the action. And next with the she reads a book. So a book is the object and she reads is a action. They watch a movie. A movie is the object and watch is the action. I called my friend. My friend is the object and called is the action in this sentence. So we cleaned the room. The room is the object and cleaned in this sentence is the action. So we have also the fourth, which is the direct and indirect object. So sometimes we have two objects in a sentence, the direct and indirect object. The direct object is what directly affected by the action. The indirect object is who benefits or receives something. Like for example, Dad gave me a gift. The indirect in this sentence is me and the direct is a gift. Next one, she sent her brother a letter. The indirect in this sentence is brother and the direct is a letter. I bought my friend a snack. The indirect here is my friend and the direct is a snack. The teacher told us a story. The indirect in the sentence is us and the direct is a story. He showed them the photo. In this sentence, the indirect is them and the direct is the photo. So next we have the fifth, which is the complement. A complement, it gives more information about the subject or sometimes the object. It usually comes after the verb like is, seems, becomes. It is not an action and it doesn't receive an action. It just describes how or it just describes or remains. For example, he is a doctor. A doctor completes the subject. And next we have the cake smells delicious. Delicious describes the cake. She becomes a nurse. A nurse tells what she became. The movie was exciting. Exciting describes the movie. And the fifth is they elected Sarah captain. So captain tells what Sarah was made. And we have the subject complement. So this is a specific kind of complement that gives more information about the subject. It follows linking verb like is, seems, looks, or taste. Like for example, my dad is a teacher. A teacher tells who dad is. The soup tastes good. Good describes the soup. He seems happy. Happy shows how he feels. And fourth, they are friends. Friends rename the subject of they. The sky looks blue. Blue describes the sky. So next we have the predicate. So the predicate is basically everything in the sentence. That's not the subject. It tells us what the subject does or is. It usually includes the verb, the object or complement, maybe even an adverbial. So it usually includes the verb, the object or complement, maybe even the adverbial. You can think of a predicate as the action description part of the sentence. Like for example, the cat slept on the sofa. Predicate in this sentence is the slept on the sofa. Tells what the cat did and where. Next we have the my brother is a doctor. The predicate in this sentence is doctor. Tells what he is, state of being. Third, we have the they played basketball. So the predicate in this sentence, played basketball, tells what they did. And the fourth, the flowers smells nice. The predicate in this sentence is smells nice, describes the flowers or describe the smell of the flower. And the fifth, we have the we watch a movie. The predicate in this sentence is watch a movie, tells what we did. And next we have the adverbial. So the adverbial gives us extra information about the verb, like when, where, how, and why something happens. Adverbial are flexible. They can appear at the beginning, middle, or end of the sentence. Like for example, we met yesterday tells when. She runs quickly tells how. And they are playing outside tells where. This is an example of when, how, and where. And fourth, we have the he called me last night tells when. And the last, she sang beautifully tells how. So, if you wrap everything, sentence always start with a capital letter and with a punctuation and have a infinite verb. It also expresses complete thoughts. There are main parts of a sentence. This is the summary. The core parts of a sentence are subject, verb, object, complement, and adverbial. Subject, who or what the sentence is about. Verb, the action or state. Object, who or what receives the action. And complement, describe the subject or object. Adverbial, adds more detail, which is the time, place, manner, and predicate, everything that tells us more about the subject. If you remember this structure, you'll be able to analyze and understand and write better sentences. Knowing the part of sentence is important because it helps us speak and write clearly. When we understand how sentences are made, we can share our ideas in a way others understand easily. This is helpful in school, at work, and in daily life. God. Good sentences stop confusion. If a sentence does not have a subject or a verb, it will not make sense. By learning the parts of a sentence like the subject, verb, object, complement, and adverbial, we can check if our sentence is correct and complete. Knowing sentence parts also help us write better. We can add more details, describe things clearly, and show feelings. This is useful when tell stories, give directions, or ask questions. So learning sentence parts is not just about grammar rules. It helps us become better at talking, writing, and sharing our thoughts. It makes us more sure ourselves when we use English in everyday life. That's all for my topic. I hope you learned something and you understand all the lessons that I give.